Hello. Today I'm reviewing the AMVR facial interface for the Oculus Quest 2. That's my Oculus Quest 2 there, and this is the bracket. And yeah, so why would you want this bracket? Well, initially when I first got my Quest, which quite honestly, it's only been a few weeks, but I've been loving it, and I can see I've quite heavily modded it already, and this is the original Oculus Quest 2 facial interface. You can see, it's okay with the foam on there. I didn't like the foam. I found that was a bit itchy, so I ended up adding a silicone cover, which I thought did a good job at improving comfort for me. Also, obviously, it's a barrier against sweat, so it repels the sweat, which is great. The only problem with this is when it's on there, it creates a complete seal. There's no light leakage, which is very good. However, it contains the heat. It really holds in the heat, and I found basically that the lenses on my Quest 2 would immediately mist up, and I'd have to take it off, wipe it down, use it for a bit, mist up, and wipe it down. So a couple of wipes of the lenses, and I was okay. But what it didn't do is it didn't relieve the problem of the ambient temperature within the visor being, hotter. You're playing on a hot day, or you're playing some, vigorous VR games. It was just something that you notice, and it's just, it just makes it more clammy, much more uncomfortable. So that's the reason why this thing exists. Well, partly one of the reasons is because it includes these vents. So if we do comparison, you can just see you can see the design there, and you can see we have these vents in there, and it just allows the headset to breathe, and it makes an awful lot of difference. I mean, it's an immediate difference, and that's why this is a great upgrade if you like your active VR gaming. You can see it also has a this nose guard on there to, let me get this back on there, sorry, just to, and it basically removes, it doesn't completely get rid of light leakage. There's a tiny bit, but it's not a lot compared to, say, this one, where on the just on the stock Quest facial interface, there's just a ton of light leakage, and you can look down, you can see the floor. You know this if you use this, and you can just see everything. If it bothers you, then yes, you want to kind of cover it up with something like this. If it doesn't, then you can, you may not worry about it, and this actually comes off, which is kind of cool. It's a silicone piece which just fits on these couple of pegs, so that's quite good. The other thing this has an advantage over the original Quest foam padding is it's using pleather. It's also softer as well. It's got some memory foam in there, and it's really soft, which is a bit nicer than that. But it's thinner, which does mean it does increase the field of view by a small margin. It's something you can tell. It does improve the field of view. And if I take this off for the moment, so you can see it's just it's Velcro, and it easily goes off on there. So we have these two pads, and if I put them up to each other, you can see the difference in the thickness, and you can see that one's very thin. That's the one I'm using currently, and you got a slightly thicker one there. But even this thickest one is actually thinner. It's softer and it's thinner than the original Quest one. So there's a couple of advantages of using this. Is it does it's better for the field of view, and of course it's being a pleather material, it does repel sweat, which is very good for wiping down. But it's not absolutely perfect, this system, but I'm okay with it. But if you look at the Amazon reviews, people will complain about a couple of things, and one of the things is it's orange, and it's also not a perfect light blocker. And I might be able to demonstrate this with just a torch, just a simple torch. And I'm not sure if it will show up. It's a bit light outside, so I'm not sure if it shows up. But yeah, you can see there's a bit of a glow of the light there. And the problem is, if it's less of a problem if you're just using, say, lights in your room. But if you have a bright window and it's pushing in light on to the side, it does cast. I noticed it casts a slight ring on either side depending on which side the light is coming in from, and it's only noticeable in dark contrast sort of like scenes, so it's not all the time, and it's not, I wouldn't say it's faint, so it's not a massive deal. That's something I've only just noticed because I normally play in a room where it's just like normal lighting, or just not anything coming directly through the window. So that may be a problem for you. If you're just using, in the evening, you'll be fine. The other thing is, when you're actually looking through the lenses and just looking normally, even when you don't have that, like I said, we don't have that kind of, when it's say in the evening and that light isn't casting on the lenses, in your peripheral you can see a bit of that orange, and you can just see there. If you look far left or far right, you can see a bit of it. So that will depend a little bit on which of these you use, because the thickness of obviously this material will push it out or pull it in with this, and you'll notice it more when you're using the thicker pad than you will using the thinner pad. For me, I'm not looking that far left and right, so I would say I don't really notice it, but some people might be distracted by it. It really depends on you. It's going to be subjective. But I have to say, it's not like a huge amount, but you can see sort of like, it's a bit like that. You sort of see just the edge of it, and it's there. There is something there. It's strange why they made this in orange. It should just be in black, because that would have been far better. And of course, like I said, it's not, it does let light in a little bit. So yeah, you can see it as kind of an orange glow, I guess, as well, which is it's kind of a strange thing. Doesn't bother me, but it could bother some other people. So it's worth mentioning since it's not perfect. The other thing I will say is, if you're using the original elastic strap, using this thinnest one is not a great idea, because it's far too thin. And I'll say even this one is probably a little bit thin when you're using the elastic strap, because the way you use the elastic strap is you have to kind of crush your head, don't you? With you have to pull it in to make it fit and stay in place. You have to use it. You have to be quite tight, and it wouldn't necessarily be the most comfortable type of feeling compared to, say, the original one, which is a little bit more thicker. So do bear that in mind. But if you're using, like I am, a third-party head strap, that's absolutely fine, because on, say, this one, my MVH Studios Pro head mount, your face isn't crushed. It sort of like rests against your face, and this works really well because I'm now enjoying just increased field of view because of I'm using the thinnest pad, because it's quite comfortable using that. And I have tried that as well, and that's perfectly fine as well, but I've been experimenting between the both of them, and for the moment I'm going to continue using the thinnest one, but it does depend on what sort of head strap you're using, whether or not I think these are actually going to be suitable for you. So do bear that in mind. Not everyone's going to like this, and it will largely depend on how you are mounting, what sort of head mounting you're using. Another thing I will mention, actually, this thinnest one, because it's this may actually be a problem also for some people, and even on this type of head strap that I'm using, which, like I said, it works great for me. If your IPD is like super close, when your field of view is brought in, when the visor's brought in using this thinnest pad, you're going to find your nose is likely to be hitting that when you sway left and right. So not necessarily great face padding if you have a narrow field of view, sort of IPD, but on the widest setting, which I use, I'm okay. It just about clears it. If I shake my head a lot, I can definitely feel a tiny touch, but it's not uncomfortable, so I'm fine with that. But yes, and you'll find that the slightly thicker one may do the trick. It might be better, but even so, I think I'm being honest here. If you've got a big nose, and you may find that this isn't good enough either. So yeah, be wary that it's not necessarily going to be a perfect system for everyone. I'm happy with it, and it's good for me. The other thing that you do get with this kit are, and I'll pull it off, I'll pull one off anyway, you get these extra little wing things, and that's actually quite a clever idea, and it works definitely with the thinnest one. I use it with that because when we put this back on there, if you have a narrow face, and I wouldn't say I got like a particularly narrow face, but using the thinnest pad, I find that when I move my head around using the thin pad, there is some sway of the headset, a little bit of sway. It's not too bad, and I can live with it. But when I've added these, and one thing you can do is you can wedge them in further or further out, depending on how much thickness you need. I find that then produces a nice seal on the sides, and I'm getting virtually no sway anymore. It's really good. I'm moving around in sort of fast moving games, and there is very little movement, which is kind of important. So that works well with that. I don't remember it ever being necessary with that one, with the thicker one. I think it does the job, but I'm kind of liking using the thin one because it just works for me. But it really is dependent on, like I said, depending on what type of head strap you're using. But yeah, so far I'm happy with using this, and I'm going to continue, and I will continue using it because I find it does a good job for me. But yeah, I have to say it's one of those things when we mod our Quest 2s. You know, you'll see people, on both sides of the fence for all these types of, modifications. That some people think they're great, some people hate them, and yeah, it's a difficult one to say if you're gonna, like all of the characteristics of, of this. I wish they just did that on black, and I'd have been fine with it. Although, like I said, the orange doesn't bother me, but I can see it bothering other people. But the difference that it makes with the vents in there is massive, and I wished they just did something in that, because it's just in the mold, isn't it? They could have easily done something there, and it wouldn't have changed anything other than improved the actual Quest 2. So yeah, so a really clever idea, and I'd say yes, if you struggle with feeling the heat or misting up of the lenses, this will do a great job and fix the problem for you. And and to be honest, if you find these are too thin, you can buy the VR cover facial interface padding, which is a lot thicker than this, and just pop it on there because it is just Velcro, and it'd work really well with this. Obviously, it increases the cost of what you're paying for the all these modifications and how you're setting up your Quest 2, but at the end of the day, when we changing all this sort of stuff on the Quest 2 does make it more comfortable, makes it more usable over long sessions. And I have to say, it's something you kind of have to do. It's hard to avoid it, isn't it, really? But yeah, I have to say, with the combination of this face pad, this head strap and battery on the back, excellent. Really happy with it. I'm loving it, the Quest 2 at the moment, because it just all these sort of little mods I've made has improved the feeling and of the Quest 2. Makes it more comfortable, increased field of view, less heat build up. You can't really go wrong. So yeah, okay guys, well, that's my review for this, the AMVR facial interface. Yeah, I hope you found it useful, and yeah, take care, stay tuned. I'll be back with more videos very soon. So until next time, bye bye.